Okay. So we're on last patrol here, and uh, didn't have much action in it. Like I said, the writers came from the world of soap operas. All right, so not your first choice for an action movie with Dolph Lundgren. But we did have some action in it, and in particular, there's one scene where Dolph's character is on a horse trying to catch up with a jeep. And we actually did this out in the Negev desert in Israel. And his stunt double was a guy named Wade Eastwood. And Wade had actually worked for Avi Lerner and Danny Lerner before in South Africa. I think Wade is actually South African. And uh, interesting. And so I met him on Last Patrol. And then when I did the order, uh, I told Danny Lerner, hey, how about using this guy that I know, Wade Eastwood, to be our set coordinator? And Danny said, no way will I ever work with Wade Eastwood again. Well, what have no, Dan, basically Danny had some issues with him in South Africa. So Wade does some adults, really hairy stunts in Last Patrol. And what does he do after Last Patrol? He ends up doing all the Mission Impossible movies. He's the second, not as a stunt double, he's the second unit director on all the Mission Impossible movies and on some other Tom Cruise movies also, because I think he got along well with Tom Cruise, obviously.
Yeah, well, he knows his stuff.
And
He knows his stuff.
absolutely. But when we first met one another in Israel, I had brought a nice bottle of tequila with me. Like I looked down when I was working in Mexico on Last Patrol. I know on the Perfect Target. Hang on a second. So I had this nice bottle of tequila, and Wade says, "Hey, well, let's get into that. Let's crack it open. Let's crack it open. Let's do some tequila." So we both got totally blasted on tequila, and that's all I remember from that night. But then I wake up. I'm in a flower bed. Oh, shouts at a hotel.
When you wake up.
I won't wake up. Yeah, and somehow I was alive.
There,
I'm in a flower bed.
were you there when you started drinking?
No, you're in the hotel.
On the first floor? Or
Huh?
on the first floor? Or?
I don't think so.
So you came down in the elevator and ended up outside in the floor bed?
Somehow I did that. Yeah.
A little nasty.
And Wade is in the same state. Basically, he was totally like that. Also, it's like
In the flower bed also.
no, someone else. We ran on out of what? Hey, wait, what happened last night? I don't know. I passed out.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Angelique and Jessica are also in.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was some of the key characters in the film. It was supposed to be like a black African American school, and Dolph ends up rescuing all these kids. So we're in Israel, like, okay, we're going to find a bunch of black kids that are like elementary school age, and there was one in particular that had a lot of lines, and so I discussed things with Jacob. Let's talk about the problem we had with where do you find black people in Romania?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Where do you find black people in Israel? Actually, Israel, there were more black people in Israel than there were in Romania. And there happened to be a sect living in the Negev desert who called themselves the Black Hebrews. And they were originally from Chicago.
Okay.
And they basically all left America and relocated to Israel. And they fancied themselves one of the lost tribes of Israel, or the lost tribe of Israel. And there's a bunch of black kids there with their parents. And so we ended up using them in the film.
Yeah.
And my daughter, who's half black enough, she was the one that did all this dialogue.
There was Angelique that did.
Angelique, yeah.
And she was in Lionheart as well.
Correct? No, Micheline was.
Oh, Micheline was in mine.
Yeah, okay. Micheline was a little homeless girl.
So who's got the more acting chops?
Who's got more acting chops?
Your daughter.
Oh, I think Angelique's had the best acting jobs for that. Fortunately, she walked away from that. No more of the stuff for me.
No, I used to have to bring that up.
Right, I remember that. Yeah, no, I had to bring up Wade Eastwood because I was just, so, it's crazy how I worked with some of these people that have gone on to do some huge, well, like Chad Stahelski, okay? He's, he's doing fight choreography on, what do you got for Buddies?
Yeah, he thinks on his Perfect Target, but then he goes on to direct John Wick.
Yeah.
But then we also had David Leitch. And that was David Leitch. The first film that he ever worked on was Perfect Target. He's talked about this since then. And David's gone on to be, and he was Jean-Claude's stunt double on The Order. And he was Brad Pitt's stunt double for many years, which is, I ended up hooking up on Bullet Train.
You're the godfather of action films.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
How was it working with Dolph?
With Dolph? Yeah, I had a great time working with Dolph. Dolph was just a dream to work with. Dolph, like I said, these people came from soap operas. So they wrote lots of dialogue, good dialogue, actually.
Yeah.
So for Dolph, there were like 2 pages of dialogue, 2 pages straight of him conversing with Sherry Alexander. And he would not miss a beat. And there's this one long scene that I did where the camera is following them. Hang on a second here. So they're outside, exterior. The camera is on the dolly, and the two of them are having this altercation. They're having this argument as they're walking. And then they even get into like a little bit of a fist fight at the end where they both go down on the ground. And this is a 2-page scene. Dolph did not miss a beat with the dialogue, and neither did Sherry. So I was able to do this scene without any cuts.
That's great.
Those are the best. There are many actors I could not have done that with.
Yeah.
But with Dolph, and there were some other long scenes also. There was one scene that I did with him and some Israeli actor who was a comedian. And I could have covered it a number of ways, but I thought, you know what, let's just try this with you and Dolph just doing the scene. And we won't get any, well, I don't know if we're going to get any coverage. Well, let's just try to do the scene. So it's just the two of them next to one another doing this long dialogue scene. It's about 2 pages. And Dolph did not miss a beat, and neither did the other actor. They were both terrific.
Well, he did graduate on MIT with a degree in chemical engineering.
Right.
See, some of guys, that's not easy.
No, that's not easy. That's not, but that's not acting. But you know, you can have a degree in chemical engineering, and you're going to be tripping all over yourself trying to,
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. You can remember.
Right.
There's a difference in remembering your lines
Right.
and acting your lines.
Yeah. So Dolph would remember the lines and
pull it off.
and basically, and it wasn't just him and another actor doing a scene, and I was able to do it without a cut.
That's great.
So take a look at that. The Last Patrol is not a great movie, but you take a look at some of Dolph's scenes, and they're pretty amazing. Yeah. I think he's some longer dialogue scenes with my daughter. All that. Yeah. So yeah, he was just great.
So Sheldon, talk to us about Max. A different sort of film for you.
Yeah. Hang on a second here. So a number of years back, one of my dogs, I had 2 dogs, male and female, and one of them died. And so the way I recovered from one of my dogs dying is I go out and get another dog. All right, that seems to work for me.
Yeah.
So we went to the pound. My wife and I go to the pound to get another dog. I wanted to get a German Shepherd, and I see 4 puppies, 4 like really young puppies. They're like 4 weeks old, I think. And the size and German Shepherds, and they had their face. They had like a black mask on their faces, but still they look like German Shepherds to me.
Yeah.
So we got 2 of them, and brought them home, and A short time later, I'm looking at an article in the Los Angeles Times, and it's an article about security at the LA airport. And there's a picture of a dog, which just like my dogs. Uh, and their caption says, they had the name of the dog, and the dog is a Belgian Malinois. I've never heard that term before, that breed. So I go home, I look at my dog, and say, well, shit, these are Belgian Malinois. They're not German Shepherds. So, anyways, I ended up becoming a bit of a, uh, not really an authority, but I learned a lot about Belgian Malinois. And then I saw articles about, and I saw that the military is using them. And in fact, they've almost exclusively become the dogs that police and the military are using. So they're using them over in Iraq and Afghanistan. And uh, I read a couple of articles. So I just look up uh, stories about Belgian Malinois, and I read about a dog whose handler in Iraq was killed, and the family back in the U.S. asked if they could have the dog. He was our he was our son's best friend there in Iraq, and we would like to take him in as our dog. So the military actually went along with that and let them have the dog. I read another article, same thing. Handler gets killed. Family asks, can we have his dog? And military says, okay, yeah, you can have the dog. So I thought, it's kind of a cool idea for a dog to, you know. And my friend Boaz Yakin and I had been talking about dog movies in the past. And in particular, the two we were referring to was one movie called The Hills Have Eyes. Uh, and it's some family, they're out in the wilderness somewhere, and there's some bad guys trying to kill them. And they have two German Shepherds. The German Shepherds, the German Shepherds come to the rescue, get rid of the bad guys. And so we thought that was pretty cool. And then we both watched The River Wild. Okay. With, I think Meryl Streep is there. And in The River Wild, this bad guy's after this family. They're around Kevin Bacon, right? Yeah. And they're rafting down a river, and they got a dog with them. They've got, I think, like a golden retriever or something. So the dog doesn't do anything to help them deal with the bad guys, as I recall. I don't have a dog. So they got a dog with them. They got bad guys after them around the wilderness. Got to use that dog for something. But no, dog never gets used. So we're saying, you know what? River Wild they needed some badass dog like a Belgian Malinois or a German Shepherd to take care of bad baggage. So then we kind of put those two ideas together. The soldier gets killed in Iraq. He's got a dog. The family takes the dog. And we had two different accounts of that. So it's not something that's an isolated incident. So we came up with the storyline for that, which ended up Boaz came up with the title Max, and we ended up. I think he might have pitched it to his agents, and Boaz was writing all kinds of weird stuff at the time that nobody wanted to buy. So he tells them about this dog idea, and they said, "Yeah, that's a great idea. Why don't you write that one up? We've got to sell that one." So we did. We just sat down and wrote it. And Boaz had some very good agents, and they got the script out there. And we had a couple of major producers that were interested in it. We ended up going with uh, one of the producers that produced oh crap, what's that other dog movie where the dog dies at the end? Right.
The one with Owen Wilson.
Was Tom Wilson in that? Hang on a second here. Like I said, guys, I'm having some memory issues lately. Okay. There's one. That was going to get older. All right. You'll be able to cut some of this out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hang on a second here.
A Dog's Purpose?
No, it was
Oh, Lassie?
Huh?
Lassie?
no. Uh,
I don't know, man.
sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
Maybe we just pause it for a minute because, uh,
We can come back to it. Yeah.
all right.
It's not Homeward Bound.
No.
Old Yeller.
When was this movie made, Sheldon?
It recently. 2018, wasn't it?
No, the one you're referring to.
Oh, man.
No, I think Max was made what, 10 years ago, right?
Uh,
What year was Max filmed, Sheldon?
Well, here, I'm looking at one. I've seen it.
I think it was about, you wrote it about 2013, right? You wrote it a while ago, no?
Wasn't White Fang, was it?
No. Oh, crap. Okay, so I've got the Miracle Wild and
Not Marley and Me.
Marley and Me.
Is that it?
Marley and Me.
And that's with Owen Wilson.
Yeah. Was it? Oh, no.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe Marley and Me is with Owen Wilson there.
Oh, okay. So anyways,
Anyways, Owen Wilson and Jennifer Aniston. Yeah,
right.
it's a really good movie.
So one of our producers was one of the producers on it.
Oh, no, Mars, not have you looking at the book when you're talking. It looks like, all right.
Yeah.
So it was Marley and Me.
Marley and Me. Yeah. One of our producers, Karen, was a producer on Marley and Me. So she had some credibility with dog movies, and we ended up getting it set up at MGM.
Nice.
Then Boaz was hired to direct it, and it was shot in North Carolina.
I gotta ask you a question. So you have your entire plethora of work, and I'm sure you're proud of absolutely all of them. But is there one that really stands out, or one or two that really stands out that are like, that's the one. That's my favorite.
No. I know which is my least favorite,
Yeah.
and that's Last Patrol.
Okay.
It's because we had such a lame script. I couldn't change the script, and we didn't have enough money to really shoot this movie. Jay Koski was not being forthright with us with the amount of money that he had available to make this movie. So we had very little money. He was able to hire Dolph at least, and I think it was pretty much like the way Avi Lerner and Malinois go on put movies together. Okay, here's Dolph. All right, we'll pay Dolph $2 million, and then we'll spend $500,000 on the rest of the.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Are there any not other resources? Are there any projects that either you wish got made that didn't, or any projects that you hope still get made? Is there anything like that still sitting in there?
Oh yeah,
Still sitting in the basement, as Rocky Balboa says.
well, my script Firebase, which everybody seems to love, which Stallone loves, everybody. But it's a big Vietnam movie, and it's funny. Director Walter Hill also wanted to make Firebase. In fact, I had a meeting with Walter Hill and Joel Silver. We're talking about
That's
super heavyweights, yeah, they're big, and they wanted to make this movie. Okay, Walter had just come off of I think it was Beverly Hills Cop 2, one of those big concessions that he had, and he had a deal at Paramount, and the executives at Paramount were saying, Walter, nobody wants to see a Vietnam movie. Okay, we're just gonna lose money on it.
missed out, man.
So then I run into Walter a couple of years later at a Directors Guild event. So we're talking for a minute, and he says to me, oh yeah, it was the Directors Guild event, but right around the time of the Oscars. It was right when Platoon won the Oscar for Best Picture, and Oliver Stone won Oscar for Best Director. I think it's the screenplay might have gotten an Oscar also. So that was a Vietnam movie made afterwards. And Walter comes up to me and says, Paramount would have made our movie. That would have been us standing up to the Oscars. Yeah. So anyway, that was disappointing.
Is there anybody that you wanted to work with that you never got a chance to work with so far? Like anybody that stands out?
Boy, that would be a long list, I guess. I don't really think about that. I only think about who I wanted to work with and who I didn't get to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was actually I was supposed to meet Brandon Lee. There was a producer. She took me to lunch, and she had a script that she wanted to make, and she already been talking to Brandon Lee about it. My name had been discussed, and Brandon Lee thought I'd be a good choice to direct the movie. And I was supposed to meet Brandon like a week later.
Oh,
And a week later is when he had that accident and died.
Did that movie ever get made?
Elephant Sound.
What was the name of the movie?
I can't remember.
Okay. So Sheldon, as we wrap things up here, what would you like your legacy to be?
My legacy is pretty much out there.
If you were to give it to us in 2 or 3 lines, what would you like it to be? Yes, your legacy's out there, but give it to the audience.
I've never really thought about that, but basically it would have to be one thing that people say about me, and I always disagree slightly. These people say, I'm the man who made Jean-Claude Van Damme. And I always say, no, that's not quite accurate. Jean-Claude really made himself. I was there along with him for the ride, but I did not make him. He made himself. But that's what people generally say about me, that I'm the man who made Van Damme.
So just before we wrap up, we have Sheldon's book here,
Right.
by Corey Dana, Sheldon Lettich From Vietnam to Van Damme. Talk to us a little bit about this. Give it a plug.
Well, any number of people have been telling me for years. I tell some of these stories like I've been telling you guys, and they say, "Why don't you call this down in a book? I mean, you've had a really fascinating life. You should write a book." And so that got me thinking about it. I didn't really want to write a biography. I didn't want to write a book where I'm basically talking about myself. If anything, I thought I'd prefer that somebody else write about me and ask me a few questions, but then talk to some of the other people that I've worked with. So Corey Dana got in touch with me via Facebook, I believe, and he wanted to do an interview with me specifically about Lionheart. He was writing an article about Lionheart. So we talked, and I really liked the way that interview came out. He published it on Facebook someplace. And so I called him. I said, Corey, you did a great job at that article. How would you like to write a book about me specifically, about my career? And he jumped on it. He loved the idea. And he had been talking to a publisher called Bear Manna. And Bear Manna does a lot of books about movies, TV, movie personalities, movie stars. And they had called Corey and they asked him, you got any ideas for a book? So he basically said, yeah, well, I've been talking to Sheldon Lettich, and he wants me to write a book about him. Okay, we're sold on that. We'll do that. Perfect. So that's how that worked out.
Another star alignment, right?
Huh?
Another stars alignment.
Stars aligning, right.
Yeah, well, we just need to do one more thing, at least for me, and I think you too, before you decide to call it a day.
All right.
Is we need you and Jean-Claude to do one more movie together. That needs to happen for the fans. I think it will happen.
And we're almost had very close.
Well, we'll get.
We will get it. We will get it.
Yeah.
It's easy to get, for Jean-Claude to get derailed or to basically move on to another subject. And that's pretty much what happened there. He was totally into doing this movie, and then Reg got thrown in the works. So he wanted to do it. We still talk. He calls me every so often. And I've been helping him out with a few things. Like he and Gladys both called me here, both on the same call, and we talked for a while. So I think it could possibly happen. I think it's very
I think it's a very good chance to happen. So Sheldon, after 8 hours, I think we're good, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you, Sheldon.
Thank you so much, Sheldon.
very
Looking down for in there and kick ass movie.
Yeah.
Very soon.
okay. So thank you. All right, buddy.